So my mother's birthday is on Sunday, and I'm making a cake, a fruity cheesecake. So here we have butter and sugar being combined as step one of that process. And because I don't want it to be sweetie, I use 2 cups of sugar and a pound of Anchor butter. With sugar and butter combined, I will now combine my eggs. So I have 7 eggs here. Called for 6, but they're small, so I use 7 instead. So whisk away. Normally you throw them in a few at a time, but I just threw in everything all at once. Notice the change in the consistency of the batter when the eggs have been added. It's almost a bit fluffy. Yeah, that's the idea. So I'm now going to add flavoring. So we have vanilla here. This is a tablespoon, I believe, the measurement. We have some cinnamon extract. We have some nutmeg extract. And we have some mixed spice. So I just use 1 tablespoon of each, and I will now combine these. The recipe that I'm using is a recipe from my paternal grandmother, who baked wedding cakes and still does bake cake. Both my grandmothers were bakers, actually. My maternal and paternal were and are. So my paternal grandmother's recipe, she normally uses some molasses in hers, which is the recipe that I copied for this fruit cake. So I'm just going to put a dash of molasses in it to be true to the recipe. I guess it adds its own little flavor. I think that will be enough for a dash. It's enough of a dash. So we'll combine this. This is more or less it for the mixer, because now we're going to just about ready to fold in the dry ingredients after we combine those. So let's see. So I'll set aside this now and mix together my dry ingredients. So I'm going to be using just about a pound of flour, this is a 1 kilogram pack, so I'll just use half of this. And I'm just going to judge it. That should be about a pound. Yes, so here we have the pound of flour. The recipe calls for breadcrumbs also. And that should be about half pound, but I'm going to use about 2 cups of breadcrumbs in addition to the pound of flour. So 2 cups of breadcrumbs is what I'm going to use. Or just about that. I need 2 teaspoons of baking powder. This is probably more than a teaspoon. I'm going to use 2 of this anyway. What other dry ingredients do I need? I think that is it for the dry ingredients. So we have the pound of flour here, 2 cups of breadcrumbs, 2 teaspoons of baking powder. We can combine these together, and then we will revert to our wet mixture, and then we fold in the dry mixture. I wanted to put a dash of salt in this, but the recipe doesn't call for salt, so I guess I won't use the salt anyway. So I'll revert to my wet mixture, and I'll fold in my dry mixture a little at a time. So you fold, you now fold. So you move from mixing with the blender to folding with a wooden spoon, spatula or something. And after I've folded in this dry mixture to the wet, I'll then add my fruits, which I would have steamed overnight in some red label wine and a little bit of rum. And I also added to that steam a few sticks of cinnamon, cinnamon sticks. You see it's coming together. You continue to mix in the dry, in the wet. I might actually add the browning since it's a fruity cheesecake that I'm making ultimately. This is the batter for the fruit cake portion of that. Intended finished product, and it will need browning to darken the mixture. So before I put in the fruits, which I have blended, or well, not entirely blended, but yeah, I will add the browning so that I get the desired color that I want before I actually add the fruits to it, so that the darkness of the fruits does not conflict the intended color that I would, or the color in terms of the darkness of the overall batter that I'm aiming for. But lad, me I'm tired, I know. Me I'm tired of this folding and this stirring. Oh my god, this thing, manual labor. One of those industrial mixers, KitchenAid. At the end you want a runny consistency, which this is not at the present moment. So when the liquid enters it from the fruits, that will more or less be achieved, and you can also add wine or grape juice in some cases if you want it to be a little more runny, if it's not at that particular consistency that you ultimately want to get to. Whew. Yeah, I'm tired. I should say my shoulder is. So I'm gonna add the browning now. Some people call it black cake. We call it fruit cake, really. And I'm using Eve. So I'm gonna add my browning and combine. You don't want to throw too much either, because it can end up being a bit bitterish if you use too much browning. So you throw and then you mix and see what it looks like, and if it needs more you take time and you throw it in until it reaches the color that you want. This is like a chocolatey texture though. So it needs a little bit more browning to get a little more darker. So I'm going to stir this in again. This looks like a color I can work with. Tastes like I could do with some more sugar. I put more sugar in it, you know. I put more sugar in it. So here I have the fruits that were steamed in red label wine, rum, and cinnamon stick, which I'll now add to the mixture. So again, you're going to fold this in. I get one more thing to do. Now that the fruit is in it, it looks like it could take more browning. Put a bit more browning in it. I'm going to drizzle some honey. And then I combine this. I think that will be it for this mixture. The next mixture that I'll need to concentrate on is a cheesecake mixture, because remember we're aiming for a fruity cheesecake, layered possibly. So we are now done with the batter for the fruit cake aspect of it. And remember I told you about the consistency that you're looking for. It's something like this. Right? So before all of this went in, it was a bit thicker, was sticking on the spoon here, the spatula. Now that the fruits are in, giving it its own with the liquid that was in it, it now gives you this runny, nice runny consistency, which is what you're looking for. So it tastes good. Yeah, tastes good. As the mother say, can't pass, it can't pass, it can't pass, it more than pass. It more than pass. Here we are. our fruity cheesecake loading. Okay, so that's it for this, and then we'll transition now to putting together the cheesecake mixture. Au revoir until next. Butter coming up in a few. So as we can continue along the journey towards our fruity cheesecake for my mom's birthday, I have prepped the tin for the cheesecake by crushing some crackers and combining that with some melted butter to make the base, and pressed it down into the pan. So we'll now transition to preparing the batter for the cheesecake. So here we are at the juncture of preparing our cheesecake batter, and I have Dutch Farms original cream cheese, which will assist us in that regard. So I'm using 3 8-ounce packets of cream cheese for this purpose. So this is one. Get it all out. Two. And 3. So once we have these in the bowl, we're going to use the mixer again to combine to get it to the desired consistency. After we added the sugar to this, so the recipe calls for, I think, a cup of sugar. So I'm gonna add a cup of sugar to that. And so as not to detract from the color of the cheese, which we can see clearly is white, I'm going to use refined sugar in this one. So this is my measuring cup, and I'm just going to do just about that. I'm not interested in being exacting, especially to the measurement. I'd rather do it less, especially when it comes down to the sugar, because I don't necessarily want it to be too sweet. So we're now going to blend this together with the aid of our mixer. we're mixing the batter for the cheesecake. It's going to be the centerpiece, in a sense, of our strawberry. Not strawberry, sorry. Our fruited cheesecake. As we continue to complete our cheesecake batter, the recipe calls for sour cream. So I'm going to add it calls for a cup of sour cream, I believe. I don't know if this is a cup or what it is. But I threw the entire thing inside here. I bought 2 of these. I'm wondering if I should use both. I don't want to ruin the mixture. Is 8 ounces a cup? How much is a cup? Well, to the extent that I'm using 3 8-ounces packets of cream cheese, I think it would be wise to use at least 2 8-ounce pack of sour cream. Maybe not, but let us see. If anything, it should be very rich, if nothing else. And then it calls for vanilla, a teaspoon of vanilla, so I'm going to add vanilla plus tax, a little bit extra. And then I'm going to combine these, and then after that we will need to add the eggs to the batter. So let's move along. In the meantime, I'm going to start my oven to heat. Since I'm almost done. Now for the eggs. It calls for 3 large eggs, but these eggs are rather small, so I'm going to use 4 to compensate for the size of the eggs. So I'll mix these 2 in, and then I go back for the next 2. The thing about the eggs is that it helps to combine the mixture, hold it together, and adds the fluffiness to the, or richness, you could say, to the entire thing. Add our remaining eggs. Be careful if you're doing it like this, not to get any shells in the thing when you crack it. So here's how it's take out. So we combine the remainder. I think that is it for the mixing. There's nothing else to mix out of it. I remove these blades and put them in the water. So there we have it, the batter for the cheesecake as part of our fruity cheesecake that we are embarking upon. And here we have our pan prepared to receive our batter. Seems to me that this might be too much for this tip, but we're going to pour what it can hold. We might need to get another little to bake the difference in. So there it is, or cheesecake for the oven. So until it's all baked, then we'll see what it looks like on the other side. So we are in the oven. On the lower end, the fruit cakes, and on the upper end, the cheesecake. Let us see what we shall see. Well, here we have it, the baked goods that we were on earlier today. So the cheesecake are at the back, and the fruit cakes are at the front. You'll see how will it taste when it is taste tested, and then whatever decoration goes on them. Don't know yet what it's gonna do, but I think I'm gonna just put one of the cheesecake on top of one of this, and then decorate it with the cherries and thing, and put some frosting around the side, and that will be it for presentation. Until that reveal, it's time for decoration. So I'm gonna cut out a, what do you call this now, platform to put the cake on. So I use the tin to draw a circle on this piece of cardboard, and I'm now cutting it out. And then I'll wrap it with file paper. So that I can empty the cake out of it. Voila! Looks smiley. This is circumference of the thing. Wrap with foil. So here's one of the cakes. Try emptying this out. Hopefully it comes out quite easily. Oh, feels a bit dense though. Feels a bit tense. So I want to try and get the top to be a bit flat to rest the cheesecake on. So I'm trying to pare it off a bit. So I'm going to now try to just put a slight layer of whipped cream on top of this before I put on the cheesecake above this. There's only one thing me having, so making spread it out too much because I'm gonna decorate this side. You see me? So here I am removing the pan from the cheesecake. Oh, look at the bottom, so nice. How am I get it on top of this now? Hey! Hopefully without it breaking off or anything like that. So there we have it. The cheesecake is atop the fruit cake. Remember what I said we're doing a fruity cheesecake, right? So double layer. So the idea now, I don't even know, is to put the the whipped cream around the side. But before I do that, I have cherries here. That I intend to put on the top of the cheesecake. But I'm kind of trying to get it a bit warm to see if, you know, it will have a little bit more caramelized before I put it on. So we're pressing along this decoration. So I put some cherries on the top of the just some cherries. A stuffing for the cheesecake. Some juices here. Don't want it too runny, so oh, look at it! Oh my god! Shit. Stop something around there. What's happening here? No. It's up the back of that. Melt that with the fridge. It's up now. The thing that I'm stress.